The stars flickered faintly in the black abyss of space as Earth's last hope, a solitary figure clad in a sleek, silver suit, stepped into the alien chamber. A low hum resonated through the walls, as if the room itself were alive and waiting. He opened his mouth to speak, but the words caught in his throat. All eyes, glowing, alien, unreadable eyes, turned toward him. What could he say to beings so far beyond human comprehension? I come in peace, he finally managed, the weight of humanity's survival pressing on his chest. The room fell silent. Elliot Marsh was not a hero. He was a linguist, a researcher, a quiet man who spent his days buried in ancient texts and his nights translating forgotten languages. That is, until the visitors arrived. 3 years ago, their massive, biometallic ships descended into Earth's orbit, casting shadows that blanketed entire cities. No war ensued. No invasion. They simply waited. Scientists, diplomats, even world leaders tried to communicate, but every attempt failed. The visitors spoke in patterns of light and sound, unlike anything Earth's experts had ever encountered. Frustration turned to desperation as Earth's resources dwindled. The visitors' silent presence felt like judgment, an unspoken deadline looming over humanity. When a signal finally came, an intricate stream of lights and vibrations, it took weeks to decode the simplest fragment, one representative. But who could represent all of humanity? Leaders debated, nations quarreled, and time slipped away. Eventually, someone remembered Elliot. He was ordinary but brilliant, fluent in over 20 languages, and had an uncanny ability to decipher meaning from the obscure. Reluctantly, Elliot was chosen. As he prepared for the journey, Elliot's mind raced. What did the visitors want? Why had they waited so long? And, most hauntingly, what if he failed? The transport ship was unlike anything Elliot had ever seen, organic and mechanical at once. It seemed to sense his presence, molding itself around him as it ascended into space. For hours, he floated in an eerie silence, the Earth shrinking below him until it disappeared altogether. The ship's interior pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat, and Elliot couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Finally, the ship docked inside a colossal alien station, its scale incomprehensible. The walls glimmered with shifting patterns, and strange, melodic tones echoed through the air. Elliot's pulse quickened as he stepped into the chamber where the visitors waited. They were tall, translucent beings with elongated limbs and faces that seemed to shimmer and distort. Their eyes glowed faintly, like distant stars. Elliot's voice trembled as he introduced himself, but the visitors showed no reaction. He tried again, using gestures this time, but they remained still. Frustration bubbled within him. Was this how humanity's story ended, not with war or disaster, but with silence? Then, one of the visitors stepped forward. Its form seemed to ripple as it emitted a sequence of tones and lights. Elliot froze, his mind scrambling to make sense of the patterns. It wasn't a language, not in the traditional sense. It was something deeper, a mix of mathematics, emotion, and intent. Elliot closed his eyes and focused. He thought of music, the universal resonance of sound. Tentatively, he hummed a simple melody, then clapped his hands in rhythm. The visitor paused, then responded with a cascading series of tones that seemed pleased. Communication had begun. Hours turned into days as Elliot worked tirelessly to bridge the gap. He discovered that the visitors communicated through a kind of synesthetic symphony, where light, sound, and motion carried layers of meaning. Each tone was a question, each flicker of light a response. Slowly, he began to understand their messages. The visitors were ancient travelers, exploring the universe not for conquest, but for understanding. They had encountered countless civilizations, some thriving, others destroyed by their own hubris. When they reached Earth, they saw potential but also danger. Humanity's technology was advancing faster than its wisdom, and the planet was teetering on the edge of ecological collapse. The visitors wanted to help, but only if humanity was ready to change. Elliot's heart sank. How could he convince them? Humanity was flawed, yes, but it was also resilient, creative, and capable of profound kindness. He shared stories of human achievements, from curing diseases to exploring the cosmos. He described acts of selflessness and bravery, the beauty of art and music. The visitors listened, their lights dimming and brightening in thought. But then came their ultimatum. Humanity's survival depended on relinquishing its destructive tendencies. This meant abandoning fossil fuels, dismantling nuclear weapons, and uniting as a single, global community. The visitors would guide the transition, but the choice had to be unanimous. One Earth. One decision. Elliot's stomach churned. The visitors didn't understand the complexities of human society. How could billions of people, divided by borders, beliefs, and fears, agree on anything? Yet he knew he had to try. The alternative was extinction. The visitors allowed Elliot to return to Earth with their message. The world's response was immediate and chaotic. Some hailed the visitors as saviors, while others denounced them as invaders. Protests erupted, governments scrambled, and conspiracy theories spread like wildfire. Elliot became an unwilling figurehead, thrust into the spotlight as the last human ambassador. He traveled the globe, speaking to leaders and ordinary citizens alike. His message was simple: humanity's survival depended on unity and change. But simple didn't mean easy. Resistance was fierce. Some countries refused to dismantle their weapons, citing security concerns. Corporations fought against environmental reforms, prioritizing profit over the planet. And many people, overwhelmed by fear, clung to the status quo. Elliot felt the weight of the world crushing him. He spent sleepless nights replaying the visitors' ultimatum in his mind. Time was running out. The visitors had given humanity 1 year to decide, and half of that had already passed. Then, something remarkable happened. In a small village devastated by drought, a group of farmers came together to rebuild using sustainable methods. Their success inspired neighboring communities. In a war-torn region, rival factions laid down their arms to focus on rebuilding schools and hospitals. Grassroots movements sprang up across the globe, led by ordinary people who believed in a better future. Elliot realized that the key wasn't convincing governments or corporations. It was empowering individuals. Change had to start from the ground up. He used every platform available to amplify these stories of hope and resilience, urging others to follow suit. Slowly, the tide began to turn. With weeks to spare, the world reached a fragile consensus. Nations pledged to work together, dismantling weapons and investing in renewable energy. Skeptics remained, but the momentum was undeniable. The visitors returned to witness the decision. Their lights pulsed softly as they listened to humanity's collective promise. Elliot stood before them, exhausted but proud. "We're not perfect," he said. "But we're trying. And we'll keep trying. Isn't that what matters?" For a long moment, the visitors were silent. Then, their lights flared in a dazzling display, a symphony of colors and sounds that filled the chamber. Elliot didn't need a translation. He knew what it meant: hope. As the visitors departed, they left behind advanced technology to aid humanity's transition. Elliot watched their ships disappear into the stars, feeling a mix of relief and determination. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. Ethics of the story. The story emphasizes the importance of unity, responsibility, and humility. It challenges humanity to confront its flaws and strive for a sustainable, harmonious existence. The visitor's ultimatum underscores the ethical principle that with great power comes great responsibility. Humanity's response demonstrates the value of collaboration, empathy, and resilience in the face of existential threats. Ultimately, the story serves as a reminder that change is possible, even in the darkest of times, and that the choices we make today shape the world of tomorrow.